Excuse me. I'll give everyone a couple minutes to hop in. Hello, hello. Welcome. Ferrer? How's it going, Ferrer? Good, good. Mr. Rocky and Mosin, how you doing? Yes. So I will give exactly 60 seconds and then I will start. I'll start at 1:15 on the dot. Yeah. Simple answer is wait. Wait. Um, if you haven't taken profits on a short, I would at least take profits on the short. If you do have a short open, right? I do see draw here on the weekly still, 256. Awesome, getting some people in, so I'll kick this off. So to start, actually, I like to start now. I've kind of adjusted the way I stream in general, or the way I present my ideas and content to you guys. I wanted to start with USDT dominance, and that is kind of like, to me now, the new main chart that I look at, just because of the importance of it, right? Basically, every time this chart goes up, the crypto market dumps. Every time this chart goes down, crypto markets will pump, right? It's very simple. On the low time frames, we actually just flipped this 5.5% level. Excuse me. With a draw at 5.34, a daily dump. So kind of what I'm expecting here is continuation, considering we did just bounce and flip this level at the 5.5%. So what does that mean with everything else? What does that mean with Bitcoin? What does that mean with Ethereum? That's what you guys are wondering, obviously. What does that mean with all the other coins? So with Bitcoin specifically, there is this equal low right here at 58,173. So honestly, I do think the draw is still going to be down here. It's the same thing, USDT. We didn't flip this level, but as soon as we break 58,173, what I would expect to happen would be the break of this, and then we wait for the reaction. Because if we can then break this and then close back above 59, we could see 63, right? 64. However, depending on the impulse, if we break this and we are unable to close above quickly enough, we will, excuse me, like choked on my coffee grinds or something here. We will see 54 probably, or lower. So if you look at between the two charts here on USDT and Bitcoin, basically very similar structure, where we have this equal low. We did flip this level, and now the draw is the highs for USDT. Same thing with Bitcoin. What I'm seeing here is, oops, that is not. Oh, that's Bitcoin dominance. Why am I not typing things right. Here we go. Yeah, so for this one, same thing. I could see us drawing to 58,173. And then whether or not we close above is the key factor there. If you're in shorts, I would say, wait, hold, SL break even if you're already de-risked. If you already took profits, great. But I would say if you're in shorts, great, like stay in them. I would expect this draw to be taken. Obviously, if you're in longs, be careful. Because as soon as we break this level, and again, I would like to propose the idea to you guys that the market itself isn't based on Bitcoin anymore. On the weekly, I had this weekly drawn up for a long time, as you can see in the weekly here, and we just are closing below 55% on the weekly. So if we can flip 55% on the weekly, maybe I'll tilt this up just a tad bit, right? Like something like that, where we then pump into 55 and then take a weekly close under 54.7. I would actually expect an incredibly high time frame reversal to happen over the course of the next few weeks, or not few, many weeks, where liquidity gets shifted out of Bitcoin and into other coins. So I'm kind of expecting this play to play out. And I think the telltale signs to me is that this weekly, we had a CE rejection right here, which is a very strong sign of a bearish rejection. And we also had a closure, right? A closure of rejection of another weekly here, which between the two, this actually creates what's referred to as a smart money reversal, where we would reverse the high time frame, right? So as soon as we start closing, we're already closing back in range. So if we close basically right where we are now on the weekly, then this will actually play out. The teal line will play out over the next like many weeks, where liquidity shifted out of Bitcoin into other coins. So going to back to Bitcoin real quick. Again, if you guys haven't been in shorts, basically the previous week's high was the previous day high was the time to take them. I'm going to just push this up a little bit. You could see we actually did take the previous day high first. This is why I also say wait for the ranges to be taken, right? Wait for the ranges to be taken and then take your entries. So on the 4 hour right here, you can see that we did just tap into this, and we are now already we already made closures and respected the 4 hour right here. So we actually closed as soon as we closed below, we respected this. So honestly, if you're not in shorts already, I would say get in shorts, because if we close where we are now, the very minimum draw again will be the 173. Obviously risk manage, etc. But I would be very hesitant to enter long still. I'm staying mostly flat. I do have a short open already on ENS. I'm just kind of sitting on it. I'm swinging it for the most part. But I entered up here. You can see my entries. I basically took this entry right here, and I'm sitting on it. I intend for this time frame to play out where we then take the daily here. We invert this 24. So we're already down here. We invert this 24. And then that's when the low draw of 15 will be taken. So this is actually incredibly high RR short I'm in right now, which is pretty nice. So that is that. I'm just gonna chill on this. I'm not taking any longs again for anything yet. Even if you look at like some random coins, I was looking at like these that seem to be bottomed out. For the most part, they did print an SMR. They are hitting levels which I marked out previously for longs. But what I don't like is that if this daily then gets taken to the downside here, right? So if we even go lower and we close lower, like if we close down here on, this is an example coin, right? we would then be inverting the previous week low, right? So we could see another down move here. So I'd rather see a high time frame market structure shift where, oh, excuse me, where we break above 69. Like this is an example coin, break above the daily uh, gap and then have a higher low, right? And then we can confirm the high time frame reversal, and then we can scale in with heavy size for previous range highs. And this is like on almost every coin, like every single coin. You name a coin, they all show a very almost identical signature of their charts. So like Filecoin, for example, right? Same thing. We have this SMR, we have this low, we have a daily being created. Even if we take the lows, we could still invert them. And on the high time frames, we have these really strong OBs that are open here on the weekly. So as soon as if we are to flip the 5% level on USDT, what we could see is something like this, right? Like that, right? Where we do a sweep of a high time frame sweep of the lows on the weekly, very, very strong impulse, and then a close back below, a back above this current weekly VI. We're basically building a weekly VI on a few alts here. So just, yeah, to help you guys out too, did you guys have any questions? Oh, sorry, well, let me first put it forward. Did you guys have any questions with regards to that so far? If not, I can take a look at specific coins. Well, yeah, sorry, your questions is like, can we still enter short? If you're not in a short already, I would advise looking for one. However, the current levels we are in are not good enough risk reward to go either way. So for the most part, I would either advise either if you're in a short, stay in it with the risk management, or if you are not in a short, look for one if we pump just a little slightly higher here, right? Um, maybe during the Asia session, so like probably so like 2 or 3 more candles from now. So like something like where we go like this, right? So like the Filecoin is an example I'm using, right? Where in the next like 8 hours, so after a couple more candles here, Asia kill zone session, we could take the highs and then continue a reject. But my thesis is still bearish we break until we break and close below 5% on USDT, because USDT just looks like it wants to skyrocket right now. So I do not want to take anything long. If you're in longs, I don't know, personally, I would not be in them. I would close them. But that's just me. If you're risk managed, then great. You can hold them, as you see fit. But right now I'm personally staying flat right now beyond just the one short I have. I'm staying incredibly very flat. If you got into BTC short or any of the other ETH shorts, great. If not, I actually am not even in spot yet too. I'll be clear with you guys. I'm not even in spot because probably like 10% allocated, not very much, because this impulse here, right? This is a weekly level, the 5.7. If we impulse to 5.7, that would be the spot where I would start looking for spot entries. Because this would be a high time frame bear flag, almost, if you consider a bear flags, right? Because what we could do here is, I'll draw this out again on the weekly. We could impulse up to 5.7 and then start pumping, right? Pump back here, chop around, and then possibly either reject here, back down under 4.3, or bounce again up to the 6%. But the good news is that at the high time frame, USD dominance is showing signs of a high time frame reversal, meaning even if we consolidate here on the weekly, even if we dump to like 6%, which I don't really see happening, this is still a bear flag, because we do have these equal lows down here, the 3.69% on the high time frame. And as soon as we break this trend on the weekly, do you see that? As soon as you break this trend on the weekly, this thing, we are going to have crypto pumps beyond anyone's expectations. So just stay patient, stay calm, and stay risk managed, and we will see that eventually. It's just a matter of when, right? For me, I don't think we are going to reject here. We are too close so I can see us having this impulse. So this is why I'm also in a short. But yes. Oh yeah, I'll get to you guys' questions now. So Matic, Pepe, Apt, and Render so far is what I'm seeing. So I'll look at Matic first. Awesome. So Matic, I do like a lot. So yeah, we are drifting, right? We have this really strong weekly range right here. We're drifting under weekly range. We closed under on the previous candle, just by a fraction of a hair. Oh, maybe I should adjust this to be more accurate here. Yeah, that's more closely accurate. So we closed over, which is actually bullish, but we are now under, right, which is actually bearish. With a relative equal there. Let's see what other time frames we can get, if we can glean anything from these. Yeah, so I would say for give anything, there's the 40B, which we are just dipping into. That I like this actually, because this could be the SMR here, right? If that range holds. This has already been invalidated. Right, so we are at a good clean range low. This is pretty clean. I would say though, I would still like to see another high time frame SMR here. But really, like this, yeah, this is the OB that I would probably anchor against to start. Yeah, basically anything lower than 48 cents. This is just at a glance. I would be probably looking to wait for the reaction at least 53 cents. So I still wouldn't long just yet, but it does look good on the high time frames I would say once we clear 49 cents. I mean, I'll be honest, once we clear 49 cents, so maybe something like this where we do an impulse, right? And then we close back above 50 cents on the daily. That would be what I would look for. Yeah, we clear liquidity at 44 cents. If I was to take this, what I might do is I might do, I mean, I'll be honest, I might do spot here with just limit entries, and I could anchor my SL very safely at 31, because that would be the range deviation, 31 cents, with the expectation we wick through 44 and then close back, start making closures back above 50. But until then, I'm not touching this with longs or shorts just yet. Apt is good. I'm a fan of Apt as well. So weekly here, very similar structure here, right? We're already starting to, even if we close right where we are now, on the weekly, the 4-day candle like consolidation here is bearish, unfortunately. We respected this gap, but we dipped back into it, so we already disrespected it. There is an open gap down here with a weekly OB. So high time frame wise, even if we bounce to 7.5, I could see one of two things happening. These are clear equal lows, so I would expect us to, if we bounce to 7.5, to still look for shorts if we then close back below 7.2, because that would be a very clear deviation right there. However, say this much, if it really depends on if we clear the 7.7 first or we clear the 6.3 first. If we clear the 6.3 first and then close above 6.3, that would be a clean long at least to 7.4, right, for apt. But again, I just don't like this range still. We're right. This is an indecision doji on the weekly right now. We're printing right on the 4-day. So I basically have 4 more of the daily candles to go one way or the other. And the decision here will be once we go one way, the reversal will happen depending on the closure. So you got to make sure you just judge based on the price action there. I do not like how this OB is sitting on a weekly and a daily here. The daily is a smooth OB with a weekly OB right there. That's so close. So on apt, if I was to take it, if I was to take the long, I would take a long on apt around $5 with a stop at 4.67. That's actually a pretty clean one because as soon as we wick into that OB, we are going to get a reaction back at least to $6. So I would probably take that as my long if I was taking it, right? However, we could go further than that, right? So, but this is the first one we could actually judge on. For now, I might just keep this as a alert. So this is a good valid level as well. App longs. And once this level hits for me, I'd like to see the reaction on the weekly where we then take it and then close back above 5.2. And then we'll have a clear long until then. Awesome. Render. Right. So I drew up this on render way back when. It's already hit my levels, but it did not close above. I didn't actually take this because this was I was waiting on the reaction at the 7.91. But let's look at the high time frame. I like to go really, really high first. So this is the 12-month. We took the highs first, and I'll be honest with you guys, I do not like the way it is currently sitting. I just do not. I do not like it. 6 month, 6, 7. Yeah, there's one right there. 1 and 2, and let's check 3 month. Right. Okay. So this is where it starts to look bullish again. On the very, very high time frames, it looks bearish. On the lower time frames, it looks slightly more bullish. We need to close the next 4 days. So yeah, here's for me the 3-month closure. The monthly closure is coming up very soon for everything, right? But render specifically, this is his opening range. If we close back in opening range, this is going to be super bearish. So just be careful with your longs if you have any, because we only have 4 more day candles to close above this. Basically, we have to close above 7.86 in the next 4 day candles. If we do not do that, this would be a very clear long. Sorry, this would be a very clear short for me. Weekly time frame. Like, yeah, we've respected this on the bullish. We've respected this already. We've tapped into it a 3rd time on this weekly, which means we're probably going to be invalidating it. If we invalidate this one, we have smooth liquidity all the way down, really all the way down to $3. So, I mean, yeah, I think $3 to like $1, right? Because, but we'd have bearish completely, or is able to turn around to bullish for sure. But right now, swings are just very difficult to do because we're clear, even though we are respecting bearish delivery. It's just not. It's not worth. It's not an ideal spot to trade in. Is basically what I'm getting at. But I would say again, like, if you're in shorts, risk manage. If not, if we're able to, if we're able to close above this line in the next, 4 candles, which is entirely possible, right? If we do something like this and we flip it like that, then by the monthly close, if we're able to do that, then yeah, this would be amazing. But until then, I'm going to remain high time frame bearish. Yes. Hopefully that answers your question. How about Doge? I was planning a long on it. Now I'm not too confident. That's all fine. I am just, yeah, I'm just telling you what I see. Again, I don't mean to be too crazy, but I do think this level on Doge looks really good. I'll say, like, if we can turn this around, right, this indecision right now, we already, like, Doge looks a little better. I'll admit, Doge looks better based on where we are right now. Because in some coins, I'll say it this way: if the weekly candle closes exactly where it is now on Doge, that's bullish. But if you look on, like, render, right, just as we were looking about right before, right? If for me, if this weekly candle closes exactly where it is right now, that's bearish because we already closed back below this previous range. So it really depends on the coin, like, and that's why another thing. Oops, that's why I also use USDT D as a reference. But we are still sitting in a deviation here with indecision. I would either do two things. I would either wait for the confirmation for the long, which for me, the confirmation would be the weekly closure, the next 4 days. So the weekly closure back above this range. So this candle needs to close above white. If it closes above white, then we're okay to look for longs. If this candle closes below white, then we could easily see something like this happen. Now, again, in 4 days, a lot can happen. The monthly closure is also right around the corner, right? If we look at the monthly candle right here, this 4-day monthly candle, we dipped in. This is really bullish right now. The monthly closure here is actually very bullish. However, the lower time frames, we want to make sure this deviation confirms. So longs, definitely valid. I would almost say that what we could possibly do, if you want to play it safe, would be to, yeah, basically just wait for the closure. It's that simple. But yes, bullish on Doge for sure. I'm actually more bullish on Doge than I am on a few other coins, because even if this closed right now, this is a triple tap on the SMR, and we're a monthly flip for this level. So, like, even this high time frame monthly range. Actually, it is bearish there because we haven't really flipped it yet. But if we wick down into my levels down here is the 8.7 range, so 8 cents and 8.7. I am not playing this with limits, but because of how smooth this liquidity is right here, because as soon as price gets this low, we could easily just wick through all of this and still close back above. Now, if that happens, that'll be when I actually take the long. So for now, I'm just staying patient. I am not touching it, but Doge is on very, very high on my watch list as soon as we get a good confirmation there, because this monthly looks amazing. There's some weird things about this chart too. Is like this OB was never tapped down here, so, like, really, if you want to be absolutely crazy, I mean, I might do this myself because I'm pretty absolutely crazy. Is set a limit down here, because this low never tapped this monthly OB, and this is near this range low. Your SMR could have a good entry you could reference point on. Besides that, though, super bullish if we're able to confirm that range, right? So for now, I am waiting patiently until we either hit 8 cents or 7 cents, almost, yeah, a little over 7 cents. But then after that, I will look for longs on Doge for sure. But yeah, literally everything preventing me from taking longs right now is literally just this chart. I would want to see, I'd want to see the 5.42 level taken, and then our closure below. If we start seeing the closure below the 5.3, then I would say we're safe for longs, and I would almost say like this would be like our new chart, something like that, right? Where we take something like this. We take this high, possibly, and then close back under, right? Something like that. That would be the ideal bull case for me on basically every single coin, where we close back below 5.3 and then keep staying in range, because there'd be 3 levels of confluence here. We'd have 3 taps on this range, right? We'd have a closure back below the 5.3%. So this range would be clear. And then the weekly draw here is still this 3.7, because as you can see, we have shifted high time frame, right? We have a range which we then are starting to range underneath, right? We range underneath it. As soon as we break this range, right, this trend, we're going to make a new range underneath that, right? And this is where we start to see, once we break that range, that's the next bull run, right? When people are referring to next bull run, this is really it. When we start transition from this stage to this stage under 5.1%, or sorry, under 4.4%. So that's kind of what I'm looking for on USDT as well. But yes, any last questions or coins you guys want me to take a look at before we continue? I have I have like 2 minutes anyway, so if you have any last things. Awesome. Ondo, yes. Ondo's a good one. Been checking it out. Oops, that's the wrong chart. I did not mean to press that one. So Ondo here, very interesting. We did get that high time frame SMR. We're closing back in range on the weekly. We have an open OB, right? Same thing. I'm going to clean my chart up a little bit here, right? This is the new weekly level that we're bouncing off of. Daily, weekly draw here looks like still to be possibly the high. However, if we cannot close that, right? Yeah, so that's, I think, still going to be the case here if we take this range. So the 4, see the 8. Yeah, okay. So what I'd like to see on Ondo would be something like this. And then we close below 1.3, because then on the higher time frames, this would actually be a pretty clean short as well for Ondo, because we'd be inverting. Already have this range high, already have that range high taken. We have a lower high on the weekly. We still have an open OB on the weekly. I would still be looking to short it into the following week, because I'd expect this to pump probably into the following week, or this following week, the next 4 days ish month, and then the monthly closure here. Yeah, well, this is tricky because there's nothing there. It's just on the lower time frames, it's more bearish than it is on the it's the same thing, like on the higher time frames. So yeah, I would not touch it yet still. 1.3, I'd start looking for shorts. For longs, I would probably do the same thing where we take the entry around 1.15 right here. That'd be a good long entry. We get another retracement back into this zone. That would be a good long entry for the highs. I'm down on spot with 500, so should I size down? Yeah, I mean, I would probably size down spot a little bit. I could see us pumping a little bit more, but again, like the fractals between the time frames don't necessarily align right now, and it really depends on whether or not USDT-D wants to continue to dump, right, or wants to pump, right? Because basically, so I'll say this much: weekly, if we close the weekly where we are now, then it's bullish technically. If we close the monthly where we are now, it's bullish. But if we start closing the dailies where we are now, it's bearish. So this one lower time frame is a little different. Consolidation here would be bearish, but I would still like to see us take the lows at 1.13 first. However, depending on the impulse, right, if we go down to I would say the next level to long would be the 80 cents range. Yeah, basically the 80 cents range. At that point, though, we could basically be creating a market maker sell model, which would mean that that would be the next high, right? And then we would consolidate more before going to the next range. But again, really depends on that. Depends on the liquidity level that you are talking about here, right? Because you could make trendline liquidity here and say, okay, we're building trendline liquidity, and then as soon as you break that trendline liquidity, then we'll have the reversal. So Ondo, not a strong read either way. I mean, I might wait to go spot again before when we get back down to 39 cents. That's a pretty good monthly level. So for spot, I like to only look at like the monthly or weekly charts. And yeah, for spot for Ondo, looks like the levels to go in on are 26 cents, 26, 20 to 38 cents. So if you're in on spot, I would either size down, risk manage, etc. We might see some minor pumps, right? But in my mind right now, I would expect pumps are for shorting, basically. Longs are still a little risky. So cool. Hopefully that helps. I might just set an alarm on this for myself. Yeah, awesome. Cool beans. Well, thank you guys. Appreciate your time. Hopefully that's helpful, and have a good rest of your week.